Mb5 in all of its glory. Alright, I'm about to fix this issue I have right here. That's a lot of play in that chain right there. That's a dangerous amount of play right there that makes me feel I'm not so happy about that. I guess the guy that owned this bike before me, he added this chain on and he didn't do the right amount of links because it's set all the way to the back, and with it set all the way to the back, it shouldn't have that much play. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take out one of the links and tighten all this up. So let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to find is the master link. If you're just watching this video just to learn how to change a chain on your moped or motorcycle, this is the way you're going to do it. You're going to, this little clip right here, you're going to push it up and then it should come straight off. And then you should be able to remove the chain. So I'm going to do that because I'm going to take out one of these links right here and tighten up the chain. And to do that, I'm going to be using this little bad boy right here, this chain brake tool. You can do it without the chain brake tool. It's just a lot easier with this. You can do it with a punch set and a hammer. You can hammer it out. I've done that in the past. It's not the easiest solution for what we're trying to do here. Okay, well, I've got my trusty flathead here, and I'm going to put it on the edge of this clip right here. You can see there. And then I'm just going to push up. And when I pushed up, you see how the clip moved up that way? Now you're just going to kind of remove it just like that. And that's the little clip. You don't want to lose any of this stuff. You want to keep it all together. And then this just slides right off. So, yeah, just like that. And now, since there's nothing holding it on this side, the pins on the back should just fall right out like that. And now the chain has been broken. Another thing to keep in mind when you are going to break the chain with the tool, it has to be, like, I have to remove this link right here because it has to be another male end going to the master link. So you're really removing this and this section right here. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna remove that. And hopefully when I do this, this is enough to tighten up this chain to where I want it. We'll see. It's trial and error, you know. With this stuff, you gotta, you know, there's all this adjustment, and you know, we'll figure it out. All right, so I've got the chain and the chain brake tool. Basically, I'm just gonna crank down on this lever, and it's gonna push that pin through the chain right there. I recommend getting a good chain brake tool. Harbor Freight sells them, but they're not worth a shit. They suck. So go with a good chain brake tool, spend the extra money, get a good chain brake tool, because it really helps out. Especially if you're doing the hole punch method with the hammer. It's yeah, get one of these. It's the best way to do this. Okay, so I have compressed this. The pin has gone through the chain. So now I'm just going to back this out, and this little piece should come right off. So let's go like that. And now we just back this out. It's just like using a C-clamp or something. And look at that. That link came right off. And I've got a male end right here, so the master link goes right in. It's perfect. Okay, so for the next part, now that I have removed the link, I've got to adjust this back that direction so I can put the chain back on. And I also need to, you know, adjust all this and make sure the chain is perfectly straight with the front sprocket. Because if it's off just a tad bit, it's gonna eat the sprocket up. So what I'm first gonna do, this side has a cotter pin in it. I'm gonna show you a little trick that I learned from one of my mechanic friends a while ago. The best way to remove cotter pins. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get you a set of needle nose and get it into the whole side of the cotter pin, and then with the other hand, you're gonna hold that with your other hand and hit the needle nose with a hammer right here, and it's basically like a dead blow, and it pulls that cotter pin out like 90% of the time. You might have to hit it a couple other times to get it out, but it's a lot easier than gripping it with your pliers and busting your knuckles on the cement or whatever. It's a nice little trick to know. The next part is we're gonna back these out. These are the adjustments for the chain. So you're gonna need a 10. And just back them out. Back that out all the way. Ready. All the way. Alright. That might be enough, I don't know. We'll see here in a minute. Back that out. Now we gotta do this side. Same thing. Back that up. All the way up. All right. There's a little bit of grit on these threads, so it's kind of hard. I can do this by finger, but by hand. Another thing too is it really helps to have a deep socket while you're doing this. I'm gonna have to take that all the way off. The reason why there's two of these nuts on there, one is the lock nut to keep. This one is the main tension nut right here. This is the one that's pulling everything back and forth. The other nut is basically locking this nut in. So that's why there's two nuts on there, just so you're wondering. And also so you don't remove one. I'll show you how to properly lock them in too. All right, here we go. So now we should be able to just kind of move the tire in. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to get it all the way to the front there. So when I put the chain on, I can make my adjustments accordingly. So we are now at the step of putting on the chain. So you're gonna pull it up like this and try not to get it to spin too much. Oh man, you suck. All right, let's grab the master link. Really need to clean this chain. My floors were really dirty. And I'm dropping it on here, getting all this dirt on there, but it'll be all right. All right, so now that we have it on the sprocket, you can see that I'm gonna put the master link through it. Just have to get it in there. So now it is, the master link is through. So we are gonna put this little guy on here, this little spacer. Like that, and then we've got the little locking clip. So this guy, let's go like this with it. It just goes on there like that on can see that exactly how that it goes on there like that, and then I'm going to push down on the top of this with my flathead, and it should lock it in place. Let's get the wheel from spinning off my foot. Ah, crap. All right. There we go. Just like that. There we go. And you could hear it kind of click when I pushed it in. It's in there. So now we've just got to do the rear adjustment. So the way we're going to do this is I've got this completely loose on this side. I've got it completely loose on that side. And the wheel is pushed all the way forward. I'm going to do one turn at a time on each side. So, and I'm going to count the turns. So, I'm just kind of tightening up, finger tightening this up so there's no play in it, so we have an accurate reading of how many turns we're going out. So I'm gonna need my ratchet. We're gonna start with this side. All right, so I'm gonna have my ratchet facing down like this. The handle's facing down, and I'm gonna do a full, oh gosh, I got it on. Do a full rotation upwards. So that's a half turn right there. We're going to do the same thing on this side. But we're going to have to do it the opposite direction. So yeah, there we go. And half turn down. Now, half turn again, and half turn that way, turn that way, half a turn, half a turn that way. You guys get the idea. I'm going to keep doing this until I get the chain fairly tight. Okay, so I've done the whole sequence with tightening down these two adjustments. You're going to want about, I think the rule of thumb is really just like about 1 inch of play with the tension of the chain. You don't want it too tight because it will eat up the sprocket. You don't want it too loose because it will eat up the sprocket or fall off and you might wreck or whatever. It's really, chain tension is an art. And it's hard to get sometimes like the perfect tension because the chains will stretch in some areas and like you might feel a little bit more slop when you're spinning the wheel in some areas than others, so it's really just an art form, making sure that this sprocket is lined up properly with this one where it's not off camber just a little bit. Yeah, so now we're just going to tighten down the axle bolt and put a new cotter pin on the other side, and we're done. I'm going to crank it up and see if we can get some movement on this back wheel and see how it operates. Looks good.